Most people remember the 29th of May, 1453, as a single, catastrophic military defeat. They picture Sultan Mehmed II leading a massive army to breach the last surviving capital of the Roman world. The city was protected by the Theodosian walls. These triple-layered fortifications had held for over a millennium, stretching 4 miles across the peninsula, and rising as a statement that the city would never fall. History books often credit the victory to a massive leap in technology, the introduction of Ottoman gunpowder artillery capable of shattering ancient stone. However, these walls had already survived dozens of sieges. By the time the Ottomans arrived in 1453, the internal structures of the empire were already broken. In 1452, a Hungarian engineer named Orban offered to build a superweapon for the Byzantines. He claimed his cannons could defend the city walls against any force in the world. Emperor Constantine XI had to decline the offer. The imperial treasury was so depleted that he couldn't even pay Orban's salary, much less buy the bronze and timber required for the foundry. Orban immediately took his talents to the Ottoman court. Sultan Mehmed, possessing an overflowing treasury, gave the engineer every resource he needed to cast the basilica, a 27-foot cannon that fired stone projectiles weighing 1,200 pounds. The city's fall was the final result of an economic collapse that had been building for centuries. To understand why the city was too broke to defend itself, we have to look back at how its wealth disappeared. By the 15th century, Constantinople was no longer a thriving metropolis. It had become a collection of isolated villages separated by fields and orchards, all living within the shadow of crumbling, unmaintained walls. Decades of civil war between rival emperors had hollowed out the state's resources. These internal conflicts drained the treasury and left the empire unable to maintain even basic infrastructure, like the city's aqueducts. During these civil wars, Byzantine leaders opened the door to the Balkans themselves. They frequently invited Ottoman forces into Europe as mercenaries to fight against their own Byzantine rivals. These invitations allowed the Ottomans to gain a permanent foothold in the region. Long before 1453, the empire was already being dismantled from the inside by its own leadership. The economic decline accelerated in 1204 with the arrival of the Fourth Crusade, a campaign that shattered the empire's foundation. Fellow Christian soldiers looted the city for 3 days, stripping churches of gold leaf and melting down bronze statues for coin. They carried off ancient treasures, including these bronze horses, to the cathedrals of Italy. Following the sack, the Byzantines lost control of their own economy. They granted massive trade concessions to Venice and Genoa, allowing foreign merchants to dominate local commerce while paying lower taxes than Byzantine citizens. The Fourth Crusade left the empire as a regional state, financially dependent on the very Italian city-states that had profited from its destruction. The origin of this collapse traces back even further, to 1071, on a battlefield in eastern Anatolia called manzikert. This was the empire's circulatory system. These Anatolian provinces provided the bulk of the state's grain, its best soldiers, and the tax revenue that funded the entire Roman world. After the defeat at manzikert, the empire lost control of this heartland. Desperate rulers responded by debasing the currency and selling off sovereignty for short-term political support, starting a slow, generational erosion of power. While the empire survived for centuries after losing Anatolia, the loss of these resources made the eventual collapse inevitable. Each subsequent crisis simply became harder to survive. Mehmed's victory was the strategic burial of a state that had already been isolated. He built fortresses to choke the city's supply lines and secured diplomatic peace with European powers before the first cannon was even fired. Inside the city, the population remained deeply divided. Many Byzantines, still bitter over the sack of 1204, refused to accept military aid from the West because the price was submission to the Catholic Church. By May, food was running low and morale had cracked. A lunar eclipse was interpreted as a sign of doom, confirming the report that no major rescue force was coming from Europe. The city's 7,000 defenders fought against a force 10 times their size. By the time the walls finally failed, the city had been left to die by the very allies who could have saved it. The collapse triggered a series of events that reached far beyond the Mediterranean. Scholars fleeing the city carried ancient manuscripts to Italy, providing intellectual fuel for the Renaissance. Meanwhile, Ottoman control over traditional land routes forced European explorers to find new paths to Asia, leading directly to the maritime voyages of the late 15th century. The fall left a wound between Eastern and Western Christianity that lasted for 800 years. It was not until 2001 that Pope John Paul II formally expressed sorrow for the betrayals that began with the Fourth Crusade. In 2004, Patriarch Bartholomew finally accepted that apology, marking a formal end to a rift that had defined the history of the region since the Middle Ages. Civilizations fall through 1,000 cuts delivered over generations. The canon was simply the final blow to an empire that had already been bled dry by allies, enemies, and its own internal contradictions. Most history books frame the fall of Constantinople as a singular event, a 21-year-old sultan, Mehmed II, leading a massive army to crush the legendary walls of the Roman world in a single decisive campaign. But the reality on the ground in 1453 was far more haunting. The city wasn't a thriving metropolis. It was a collection of isolated villages, separated by abandoned neighborhoods, ruined aqueducts, and orchards growing where markets used to stand. This skeletal city, once home to 500,000 people, was defended by a garrison of only 7,000 fighters. They stood against an Ottoman force of at least 60,000, a numerical gap that made the outcome appear inevitable before a single shot was fired. This numerical disadvantage was the final symptom of a collapse that had been accelerating for 4 centuries. By the time the final siege began, the substance of the empire had already been hollowed out. Understanding why those walls finally failed requires looking past the gunpowder to examine the specific chain reaction of economic mismanagement and internal betrayal that left the greatest city in the medieval world defenseless. The famous weapon that shattered these walls, a 27-foot-long cannon called the basilica, was actually offered to the Byzantines first. Its creator, a Hungarian engineer named Orban, claimed he could build a gun powerful enough to defend the city against any threat. Emperor Constantine XI had to reject the offer. The imperial treasury was so depleted that he couldn't pay Orban's salary, let alone buy the bronze and tin needed for the foundry fires. This bankruptcy began in 1071 at the Battle of Manzikert. The loss of Anatolia, the empire's agricultural and tax heartland, deprived the state of its grain, its soldiers, and its primary source of revenue. To compensate for this loss, desperate emperors granted massive trade concessions to Venice and Genoa. By the 12th century, these merchant colonies held lower tax rates than Byzantine citizens, effectively siphoning the city's remaining wealth to Italy and turning the empire into a tenant in its own capital. The walls fell because the state behind them could no longer afford to participate in the technological arms race. The economic failure of the 11th century determined the military failure of the 15th. The triple-layered Theodosian walls had survived dozens of sieges over 1,000 years, but while the stone remained imposing, the city it protected was physically shattered in 1204. That year, a European army gathered for the Fourth Crusade turned its weapons against Constantinople. What was meant to be a mission to Jerusalem ended in a 3-day massacre of fellow Christians. Soldiers melted down ancient statues for coin and carted away venerated relics. These bronze horses, now standing in Venice, were stolen from the city's hippodrome during the chaos. The empire was broken into rival fragments that would spend the next 60 years fighting one another for the scraps of the capital. This crusade acted as a permanent infection. When the Byzantines finally reclaimed the city in 1261, they inherited a hollowed-out ghost town, stripped of the financial and cultural resources needed to rebuild a functioning navy or a modern army. Logistically, the Ottomans were able to surround the city because they already controlled the surrounding European territory. This foothold in the Balkans was established in the 14th century, when rival Byzantine emperors literally invited Ottoman armies into Europe as mercenaries to fight their internal civil wars. The Ottomans were paid to cross the sea, and once the fighting ended, they simply stayed. When the final siege arrived in 1453, no major Western fleet came to the city's aid. The trauma of 1204 had created a rift of distrust so deep that many in Constantinople preferred the Sultan's rule over a papacy that demanded religious submission in exchange for military help. The mechanical isolation of the city was the cumulative result of these internal power struggles and toxic alliances, leaving the capital to face its final hours entirely alone. On May 29th, the defense finally fractured. After weeks of bombardment, the elite janissaries pushed through breaches in the walls, just as the city's primary commander, Giovanni Giustiniani, was carried from the field with a fatal wound. Mehmed II entered the city and headed straight for the Hagia Sophia. He reportedly marveled at the architecture of the 900-year-old church, even as he ordered its immediate conversion into a mosque, marking the official end of the Roman world. This capture closed the traditional overland silk and spice routes, forcing European merchants to find alternative maritime paths to Asia. This shift in economic necessity funded the oceanic voyages that eventually reached the Americas. We often imagine that civilizations end with a single dramatic catastrophe or one bad day, but history shows a pattern of gradual erosion where every civil war, every lost province, and every ceded economic privilege builds toward an inevitable breaking point. Mehmed II delivered the final blow, but he was striking a body already drained of its wealth and willpower. The true lesson of Constantinople is that the greatest empires don't fall from outside forces. They are bled to death by their own internal contradictions, long before the enemy reaches the gates.